They froze, they starved, they died, not for victory, but for survival. The Eastern Front was the deadliest battleground in history. More than 30 million people lost their lives here. Entire towns were erased. Armies clashed, but behind the numbers were ordinary men and women forced into a struggle so brutal that survival itself became the only goal. What was life really like on this front line? Today we step into the boots of soldiers and civilians to glimpse what it meant to live through the war without mercy. Imagine walking in a frozen trench, your boots filled with ice, your stomach empty, the wind cutting through every layer of clothing. For German soldiers, the early days were filled with confidence. They believed the Red Army would collapse in weeks. But instead of quick victory, they found themselves trapped in endless mud, snow, and fire. The deeper they pushed into the Soviet Union, the further they stretched their supply lines. Hunger and frostbite became as deadly as bullets. On the Soviet side, life was no easier. Many soldiers were thrown into battle without proper weapons or winter gear. Some units had only one rifle for every 2 men. Those unarmed were told to wait until a comrade fell before picking up his weapon. Yet the Red Army endured. Driven by the defense of their homeland, pushed forward by commissars, and fueled by a will to survive, they stood their ground. For them, retreat often meant execution, but advancing meant certain death. The battles were relentless. Artillery thundered day and night. Snipers hunted men in silence. Ambushes erupted in forests and fields. A single step forward might cost dozens of lives. German divisions collapsed under the weight of Soviet counterattacks. At Stalingrad, entire armies were swallowed whole. Soviet soldiers faced equal horror. Crossing a ruined street could mean instant death. In the chaos, civilians suffered most. Villages burned to ash. Families fled with nothing but what they could carry. For many, there was nowhere to run. This was not just a war of armies, it was a war of annihilation. The Nazi regime waged a campaign to destroy, burning villages, starving populations, and executing prisoners. The Soviet Union responded with ferocity of its own. Suspected collaborators were shot. Cowards were punished. No mercy was given. No mercy was expected. It was an endless cycle of vengeance and survival. Yet even in this darkness, human stories emerged. A German deserter named Fritz Schmenkel joined Soviet partisans, turning against his own army. A young Soviet sniper, Rosa Shanina, wrote in her diary about her fears and determination. Civilians endured the unendurable, clinging to life as the war tore their world apart. For soldiers on both sides, the Eastern Front was not about conquest anymore. It was about whether you would live to see the next sunrise. Each day was borrowed time. The Eastern Front consumed everything, cities, armies, nations. But in the end, it consumed people most of all. Behind every statistic was a soldier freezing in a trench, a mother burying her child, a village wiped from the map. The war here ended in 1945. But for those who lived it, the Eastern Front never truly ended.